Hello friends, I'm Miss Maria with the Hemp Hill branch of the Greensboro Public Library. Let's look at our macrame project and I'll demonstrate the steps for how to make this. So I'm using jute, which is sort of a natural cord. You can also find macrame cord in lots of different colors and thicknesses. For a small jar, you don't need a real heavyweight cord. Sort of a light to medium weight will work. I've gone ahead and cut 4 pieces, and for this size jar, each piece is about 4 feet long. So let's get started. I'm going to hold my 4 pieces of cord together, matching up both ends, and fold it in half. Then I'm going to tie a knot near the top of the fold, just an overhand knot, so wrap it around and pull that loop through and pull it snugly. So that is the hanger for your macrame project. Now at this point, if you're doing this at home, you might want to hook this onto a cabinet door or a doorknob, a hook of some kind, and work that way. But for me to demonstrate it on camera, I'm going to leave it flat on the table. So now I've got my knot at the top, and I'm going to divide my 8 cords into sections of 2. So there's 2, there's 2 more, there's 2 more, and there's 2 more. So you see I have 4 sets of 2 each, and I'm going to tie my first knot about 4 inches from the larger knot. So I have a ruler. You can just eyeball this if you want to. So there's about 4 inches right there. I'm just going to do an overhand knot again, wrap it around my finger, pull it through, and snug it up. And you want each knot to be equal with the other. So once you've got that first one, you've measured, you can just line the other sections up with that first one. So same thing, fold it around, pull it through, and snug it up. Now one thing I do, I don't make it real tight until I'm sure that I've lined it up in the exact place that I want it. And once I feel like that's a good spot, they're fairly even, then I make my knot a little bit tighter. So the same thing for our next section of 2. Line it up, make this real simple knot. Make sure that it's mostly even with the others, and then tighten it. Alright, last one for this first row of knots. Same thing again. Once you've practiced this, it goes pretty quickly. But for your first few times, you might want to take it slow. I want that one to be a little shorter, so let me slide it up so it's more even with the others, and then tighten it. Okay, so now I have 4 knots, and I still have my 8 sections. This time, I'm going to divide my pairs a different way. So for my first 2, I'm going to take this cord and tie it to this next one. And then this one and this one will go together. This one and this one will go together. And then I'll tie the last one back to the first one. So you can see how hanging this up might work easier. But for my demonstration, I'm going to leave it like it is, flat on the table. So this time I want my knots to be about 2 inches down. You can make them closer or further, depending on how big your jar is, what look you're going for. There's plenty of room to experiment with this project. So, but for now we'll go about 2 inches down, so that's about right here. Remember, I've taken 1 from each of my pairs, and I'm going to make that knot the same way that we just did. Slide it to where I want it to be, and then tighten it up. Then the next pair will be the same. Make my knot, and slide it to the right place. And then the next one, these 2 together, So there's 3 out of my 4. Now I'm going to take my last one, bring it back across to the first one and tie a knot. Tie those two together. Okay, so now you can see that that's starting to form an opening where your jar will go. It's sort of like a fishing net or that kind of idea. So we're going to do the same thing one more time. So here are our 4 sections, 2 each. One more time we're going to split them up and take one cord from each section and tie it to a cord in a different section. As I'm going along, this will make more sense, I think. So here, we're going to tie these two together about the same distance, about 2 inches. As I said, this part is a little easier if it's hanging up. So then here, we're going to take this one and tie it to one of the next pair. Approximately even. Okay, then this one and one of the next pair. Tying that same simple knot. And then for my last one, let me see which 2 I have not used. These 2 here. So we'll tie those together. And that's all the rows of knots we need for our small jar that we're using today. So now I'm going to try to open that up. Open the net up with my fingers and slide my jar into the center. So the large knot is at the top where the hanger is. And then my loose strings, my 8 loose strings are at the bottom. And we're going to approximately line those last knots up at the edge of our jar. And then we're going to tie all 4 of these cords together in a big knot, just like we did at the top. So take all 8 of them actually. We had 4 pairs, 8 separate cords. Take all 8. Make an overhand knot, pull them through the center as evenly as you can, and tighten it up. That is the base for your jar to sit on. So now when you hang it, you can see your macrame knots, and you've got a little tassel at the bottom. If you feel like your cords are not even down here, you can trim those so that they're straighter. And there's your macrame jar hanger. Now, you can put inside a little battery-operated candle. You could put something decorative in there like pretty rocks or seashells. You could put a glow stick from the dollar store in there. You can hang it inside or outside. And you can experiment later as you get used to this process. You can experiment with different types of cords, adding beads, using longer pieces of cord in larger jars. So this is just a basic, simple macrame project to get you started. I hope you'll give it a try. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.